Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about the monarchs of southern Germany and what if they had seceded from Germany during World War I. Now, depending on your knowledge of history, you may or may not know that during and before World War I, Germany wasn't quite a fully united country. It had some smaller duchies and kingdoms inside of it. The northern bit, which you would call modern-day Germany, or what it was called then Prussia, there were also smaller kingdoms and princelies in there. There were mostly the three kingdoms of Württemberg, Bavaria, and Saxony, the other princedoms of Thuringia, Baden, those things as well. This timeline would most likely diverge from our own around 1918 with the failed German offensive of Paris. With the Central Powers waning and Germany running essentially on fumes and fresh American troops arriving on the front, the South German monarchs would see the writing on the wall, and it probably said, "You're gonna die." After a short meeting between King Ludwig II of Bavaria, Wilhelm II of Württemberg, and Frederick Augustus III of Saxony, they would all agree to break away from Germany and declare their independence and war against the Central Powers. This shock announcement would likely send the Central Powers into a tailspin. It had opened a clear path for the Entente to march straight into Berlin or Vienna. This would most likely make the war end in July of 1918, 3 months ahead of schedule. With the war over, the southern kingdoms would be on the winning side, and they would be able to gain small bits of land in return for their backstabbing of the Central Powers. Württemberg would most likely annex Baden, Bavaria would have Hessen, and Saxony would take Thuringia. The rest of Germany would most likely be carved up as it was in our time, with France taking Alsace, Denmark taking northern Holstein, and Poland getting Danzig, with minor occupation zones as well. With the loss of the lands in the south, Germany would be even more crippled than they were in our timeline, with burdensome debts, neutered industry and financial sector, while dealing with the death and destruction of years of war that had brought upon the country. Bavaria and Württemberg would most likely see slight boosts to their economies as their industrial powerhouses of the south wouldn't have to subsidize the more agrarian north. Saxony, on the other hand, would most likely deal with the middle child problem. They aren't quite as industrialized as the south, but they were also dealing with a lot of the agrarian issues that Germany would be dealing with, and they would be their main trading partner. Over the next 5 years, Western and Central Europe would be about as calm as it was in our timeline, the only difference being Germany spiraling even deeper into a recession and not having the ability to dig itself out of it. That is until 1923, with an alternate beer hall push led by Adolf Hitler in Berlin, Germany. After a loud and fiery speech, the crowd, now numbering in the thousands, would turn on the government and overthrow them, leading to the new Prussian Reich. This new Prussian Reich would embark on modernization, industrialization, and rearmament to take over the kingdoms of the south and those that they believed had stabbed Germany in the back in the First World War. The first of the three southern kingdoms to fall would most likely be Saxony, as they were the least economically developed region and their king was the most hated by their populace. Aided by Prussian military groups, the Saxony Nazi Party would overthrow the government and rejoin with Prussia. Württemberg and Bavaria would be a different story, as they had fully integrated themselves into the French idea of a continental bloc, or a Misny Morsy, the between two seas. They would feel no need to join Germany as they had more distant cultures, different religions, and they had become more culturally distant from Germany over the past few years. Needless to say, the new Prussian Reich would almost be more expansionist than our timeline, feeling the need to overcompensate for the lost lands of the south, pushing east in the Baltics, puppeting Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia after their war with the Soviets had ended. All of these moves would be in vain, however, after the failed annexation of the Czech Sudetenland and no Italian alliance. Germany would face another humiliating defeat at the hands of the Allies, ending World War II before it could even be started. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. There are links to the Discord down in the description if you would like to help me make some of these videos, and I will see you all in 2 weeks.